Hello, welcome to episode 22 of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you from the cloudy, sometimes rainy, and sometimes warm confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wherever you may be watching or listening, I always appreciate it and thank you. As always, like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. I got a lot of episodes coming forth, a lot of content coming at you guys. So bear with me. I've been working very hard lately to make sure I've been, giving you guys information and content I think you might want to read into or look into, or just, jot down on a random day, or just look at. Anyway, nonetheless, I just appreciate you guys for just plugging in, providing feedback, watching the videos, everything, like I said, and it's been tremendous. We're literally at the end of this month. Finally, we're going to be on Apple Podcasts, soon to be on Spotify. So the show is expanding, and it's a great thing to, just be doing this. It's a great thing to literally be talking sports and be talking to, you guys about it. And it's just, it's a beautiful thing. And I thank all of you wholeheartedly. I thank all of you for the support. Getting into it, this episode is going to be about the Eagles news and notes. Some things that I kind of went over earlier this week that I kind of meant to do an earlier episode on. I kind of prepped it, and the episode didn't come out as right as I wanted. So I wanted to take my time and do it. So today you'll be seeing it. This episode was actually pre-recorded, but you'll be seeing it later on today. Nonetheless, I wanted to touch on the Desean Jackson and LeSean McCoy interview on the 25 and 10 podcast that they did. Kind of like an expose, really, talking about their time in Philadelphia under the Chip Kelly regime. And as an Eagles fan, if you get a chance, I definitely implore you to hear it. It was 52 minutes long, so if you got time, definitely sit down and, if you got some time to spare, sit down and watch it. It wasn't extra long, but long enough. It was a great, kind of just, fuck it, for lack of better words, it was just a confession from both these guys about what really was going on. It's as an Eagles fan, it was frustrating to hear how, the organization kind of ran with what Chip said, how we, because, some of it really his own doing, fucked up draft picks or, bad investments in certain players. It cost us. It cost us, Desean, it cost us LeSean, and it cost us Jeremy Maclin. We lost our core. And I always believed that when Andy got those guys, all he was missing was the quarterback. Whether it was Nick Foles, whether it was supposed to be Michael Vick, who knows? Andy didn't get to finish his tenure out. 14 years is a long time to be in the city, so he had more than enough time. No excuses there. However, that being said, it was very frustrating to hear Desean and LeSean basically state that, Chip Kelly was pretty much, afraid to be around black players. I mean, Desean Jackson during the podcast, and if you guys, I implore you to watch it, fellow Eagles fans, but, during the podcast, Desean Jackson calls Jason Peters, longtime Hall of Fame left tackle of Philadelphia, soon to be Hall of Fame left tackle of the Philadelphia Eagles, formerly of the Eagles. And he basically said, Chip Kelly was, in quotes, a bullshit ass person. It's heartbreaking when you realize a guy really fucked up a roster like that. I mean, I'm very thankful that we had that Super Bowl season, culminating in the 2017-2018 year. They won it February 2018 against New England. I'm very happy that it happened. I'm ecstatic, but make no mistake, that Super Bowl parade could have been a lot sooner had that fucking guy not been there. It was very disheartening just hearing that and just listening to the missed opportunities and hearing the anger and some of the, dismay in their voice about how things could have went and how things could have played out. And, ultimately, we don't know. It's all hypothetical. It's all in hindsight now. Both of them won rings as backups. Desean not really doing much. LeSean not really doing much. But nonetheless, it doesn't negate what they did as Eagles. And I commend both of you gentlemen, because without y'all, it would have been some dark days. And God knows LeSean McCoy, in my opinion, best back in the 2010s, best back in the 2010s. And, Desean Jackson, best deep threat in so far in my generation, as far, especially at that stature and size, best deep threat. And Jeremy Maclin was a good possession receiver, had I believe he had a 13 or 14 yard season with us his last year. So Chip fucked that all up. But nonetheless, man, it was just dope to hear those guys basically state the truth and really state facts to what really happened and give us some insight and give fans insight on what really was going on. And, it explains the reason why Chip Kelly never got another NFL job, after the 49ers. And it was just kind of to hell with him after that. So another thing that I wanted to touch on, too, that was in an interview that I thought was of note, something that I think that most people probably wouldn't have paid attention to or really gave two shits about, but it was very interesting. Desean Jackson's comments on how he actually was kicked out of Philadelphia, for lack of better words. He highlighted the reporter Elliot Shore-Park, who's a reporter for NJ.com, living in New Jersey. I know who Elliot Shore-Park is. I know he does report for the Eagles on NJ.com. Basically ran with some bullshit information and material and demonized Desean Jackson because of his affiliation or who he was around. The friend that that Desean was cool with actually won the case that he was, up against. And Desean states it. Like I said, I don't want to give it all away. I want you guys to definitely watch the podcast, the episode. But, Desean eloquently explained it. And Elliot Shore-Parks, reporter from NJ.com, smeared him. And, from Deshaun's viewpoint standpoint, kind of hard not to believe that, especially the way things playing out. You're a gang activity, gang relation, be that as it may. It all helped Chip Kelly's agenda. And then, of course, sending LeSean McCoy to the Buffalo Bills, one of the worst fucking trades ever. I mean, if you're an Eagles fan, there are a lot of shitty trades that happen in the Eagles history where you go, damn, how the fuck did that happen? That LeSean McCoy trade, was by far one of the fucking worst. You got rid of Desean Jackson for nothing. He goes to Washington and kicks your ass every time he sees you. Then goes to Tampa and kicks your ass every time he sees you. And LeSean, he never got his revenge, but boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. But anyway, to the main point, Elliot Shore-Parks discredited Desean, pretty much smeared his name. And Desean pretty much, took issue with it and called him out on it. And congrats to Desean for doing it, because a lot of reporters do this and they come out with these reports and it's extensive and it's detailed, but when it's found false, very few of them actually come out and actually stand on the pedestal and say it's wrong. So he's right, fuck him. If he's not going to come out and say that he was wrong and that his reporting was wrong and that he came from a place of ill will or ill intent, then he's just not being honest and it's just disingenuous. And ultimately, as an Eagles fan, I guess you can call it water under the bridge, but, still kind of pisses me off. Having said that, we're going to talk about the current iteration of the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles and the Patriots announced earlier this week that they will be holding a joint practice in Foxborough when the Eagles travel to Foxborough to play the Patriots. Typically, when the Eagles had Bill Belichick, when they were going to, to play the Patriots in Foxborough or even in Philadelphia and Bill Belichick was coaching, typically there was 2 to 3 days of, scrimmage. Jerome Mayo is completely flipping the script this year. He said this year there will be 1 day of practice because he wants to minimize the fights. Don't know really what, that's going to do, because let's be honest, even if you minimize the fights, guys aren't necessarily swinging at each other in practice. They haven't hit somebody on the other team in a while. And the moment that happens, there's going to be some guys getting fucked up in these games, preseason or not. So delay the inevitable however you want, but it's going to happen. Having said that, Nick Sirianni agreed to it. I think it's a great idea. Again, the live scrimmages are what's going to really help you. The preseason games don't count. It's a lot of reps for backups, rookies, and young guys to really showcase what they can do. So it's going to be very interesting. Like I said, it's always going to be interesting to see. Going into the next topic, with all the returners that the Eagles have grabbed, fellow Eagles fans, I ask you, is Britton Covey's job safe? Because in my personal opinion, I don't think so. And I think he's been one of the best, statistically speaking, he's been one of the best returnmen in the NFL the past 2 years. He's definitely been good for us. I have really no complaints. But we have to be honest. The one thing that's missing from Britton Covey's game, is that he doesn't have that speed element. He's a tactician, so, he's a wide receiver by trade, so he does know how to run and shift and make plays, and he has. He's definitely made plays for us. He's definitely helped put that offense in spots. However, I'm not sure with the combination of Jakeem Grant and John Ross being there that his job is safe. I mean, and I'm not saying that they're necessarily going to cut him, but if Jakeem Grant can stay healthy and show improve like he has before with Miami, that he could be a reliable returner and a possible Pro Bowler at that position. I mean, all bets are off. So whenever you guys really think about it, the Eagles typically try to always sign a decent return man or a return guy that can really, get you 30, 35 yards, put the offense in prime position. Again, it's not really a knock on Britton Covey. I think this speaks more to how the kickoff rules have adjusted, and the more weapons, the merrier. So again, Britton Covey's job may possibly be safe. I just think that if you have Kareem Grant in there healthy, and he's looking like the guy who he's been looking like in special teams, it's going to be very hard for Britton Covey to get that kick return job. Maybe punt return, but kick return, doubt it. Doubt it. And a lot of people are like, well, hey, John Ross, John Ross is there. I don't think John Ross makes the team. I think John Ross has really tried his best at football. He's really given it his all. He's a burner. And, some guys are fast, but it doesn't necessarily translate to route running. It doesn't necessarily relate to precision and cutting properly and footwork and hand-eye coordination and adjustments and speed and momentum. It's a lot of things that goes into that. And ultimately, I just don't really feel like John Ross is going to probably make the team, frankly speaking. Another news and note I wanted to definitely touch on was rookie wide receiver out of Texas A&M, Ainias Smith, spoke highly on the leadership of A.J. Brown, spoke about how A.J. Brown was there for the wide receivers. He was actually the first person that texted him. He had screenshotted the text, posted it to X and Facebook and a couple other different sites. I know that the Eagles website, they have reported on it. But Ainias Smith ultimately spoke to how A.J. Brown contacted him first and said, glad to see you here, and, time to go to work and time to plug in. And, he basically said he's going to show up, all the natural, status quo things you would expect from a rookie to say to a veteran, especially of that caliber. But anxious and excited to see how A.J. and the guys are taking on this leadership role. They're embracing it. They're not running from it. And it's only going to help this team going forward because they're going to need these guys. They're going to need to lean on the AJs and the Jalen's and the Meladas and the Lane Johnsons and so on and so forth, going forward, especially to be successful, because without these guys, this team, they would suffer. Last but not least, the last news and note I want to touch on was special teams coordinator Michael Clay spoke on the new kickoff rules and the new kickoff and punt return rules and stated that, and quote, we have to use the new kickoff return as a weapon. Last year I checked because I was very curious about this. The Eagles ranked last year in the NFL 7th in special teams, which is very good. If I think they can make the adjustments on special teams that I think they weren't able to make last year due to just roster, cap space, injuries, this special teams could possibly be top 5. I think, just being quite frankly honest, having Kareem Grant there, having Britton Covey there, you should definitely have playmakers at the position. You have Will Shipley. Kenneth Gainwell, could also do some return duty for you. You don't have Boston Scott anymore, so that kind of sucks. But ultimately, yeah, man, I mean, you got the guys that could definitely do it. I just feel like right now, that's a very hidden part of this team that needs to be unlocked. People don't really want to acknowledge this, but as an Eagles fan, I'm honest. Fucking special teams cost us a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Yeah, we can talk about Jalen's fumble. We can talk about Bradbury holding Juju Smith-Schuster late in the fourth quarter. Make no fucking mistake about it. Special teams doesn't allow Kadarius Toney on that one drive to get into the red zone early where they can get a quick score. You never know how the game plays out. Changes everything. Special teams is one of the most hidden things in the game. People don't really pay any attention to it until it fucking bites you in the ass. That's just how it works. But nonetheless, I think it could be a great weapon utilized for this team. And ultimately, let's go. I mean, like, you got to – this team knows the pressure. These coaches know the pressure that's on this team this year. Sirianni knows he's playing for his job. He knows he has to be second round or above. I mean, honestly, really, it's NFC Championship game, but he has to be second round or above. And if he's not, people are going to call for his job. And I just think this team is very, very ready to, step up to the challenge. I think that they've made the adjustments. I mean, you got your special teams coach talking about utilizing players as weapons. This is the focus that they need going into the season. This is the focus that they need going preferably into camp. And all of this will round out, and they'll find out the guys that they need. No games are played ultimately until September, but I like the mindset. I like the leadership that I'm seeing, and I like how guys are competing. And ultimately, we'll see where it ends. We'll see where it ends. But as Eagles fan, I'm very excited and very happy about how so far this offseason has went. That'll wrap up episode 22 of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. I thank you guys as always for watching and listening. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Peace. Take care and enjoy your day.